Welcome to Dream Abroad with IELTS. Hi, today we will discuss about types of questions in IELTS Speaking Part 3. Speaking Test. It is same for both general and academic IELTS. Conducted either on the same day or 5 to 7 days before or after your listening, reading and writing test. It is a one-to-one interaction between examiner and candidate. It consists of 3 parts, part 1, 2 and 3. Duration of the test will be 11 to 14 minutes. Let's move on to part 3 of speaking test. It is actually a two-way discussion between examiner and candidate. Duration will be 4 to 5 minutes. In part 3, you will be asked more questions about your part 2 topics. Here, the questions will encourage you to express your opinion, feelings, thoughts, etc. Also, you can compare and predict about the subject you will be asked. Here, the questions will be more abstract than in part 1 and will be about ideas and concepts rather than about your knowledge. That means here you will only be assessed on your English language skills and not on your knowledge about the topic or the content of what you're speaking. And also, this part gives you an opportunity to show a wide range of your speaking skills. As I mentioned, part 3 questions are more abstract than part 1. For example, if question about travel, in part 1 it will be asked like this. Describe a place that you visited recently. The same topic will be asked in part 3 like this. Do you think traveling to another country can change the way people think? Another example is about cinema. In part 1, it will be asked like this. What kind of cinema do you like to watch? In part 3, it will be like, why do you think cinema can influence people more easily than other platforms? Here, the topics are same, but you need to give more abstract answers for part 3 compared to part 1. Next, about the most common types of questions in part 3. They are opinion, compare and contrast, hypothetical, change, future and predict, benefits, etc. These are not the only possible types of questions, but most of the questions will fall into one of these categories. Next, we can discuss briefly about the types of questions in part 3 of speaking test. First, opinion. This is the most straightforward question forms. For example, do you think people in your country are less healthy than they used to be? Next, compare and contrast. Here you can compare the advantages or disadvantages of the subject in the topic. For example, what are the advantages of an urban life compared to the rural life? Next, hypothetical. These are about unreal or imaginary situation. For example, if all tourist places are shut down in your country, what effect would it have on the economy? Next type of question is change. It will be asked you to talk about the past and the present. For example, how has leisure changed since your parents were children? Next, future and predict. Here you may get a question asking you to guess or speculate about the future. For example, do you think that everyone in the world will have access to clean air and water in the future? Next, benefits. It is a most common type of questions in part 3. It will be asked about the benefits of a particular situation or the benefits of one thing over the another. For example, what do you think are the benefits of exercise? These are some categories of questions will be asked in your part 3 of speaking test. Also expect some challenging questions in part 3. No need to give a long talk or answer to the questions, but your answers will need to be longer than in part 1. Also, you can develop the topic with examples and explanations. This all will push you to the limit of your ability and it will help the examiner to accurately assess the full extent of your English language speaking skills. Some important points to remember are: listen carefully to the questions and avoid to stress over difficult questions. If you don't fully understand the questions, you can ask again. It won't affect your score, but limit it one or two questions and don't ask them anything else. And never give your answers are too short. Prepare and practice well and recording yourself before going for the test. That's all about IELTS Speaking Part 3. Thank you for watching and bye bye.